And when you think multi-site, okay, you're thinking multi-site, you're thinking about it, right? Multiple locations, and you're not thinking church. What things come to mind? Go ahead. What do you got? Starbucks. McDonald's. What else? Banks. Good. What else you got? Dry cleaners? All right. What else? Walmart. Very nice. Give me a couple more. Gas stations. What? What else?
White Castle.
White Castle's my favorite. There once was a time, all right, this is good. There once was a time when you could say, I'm going to the bank, and everybody knew that you meant a specific bank in a specific place in town. But now if you say, I'm going to the bank, it could mean one of several different branches. Maybe some of us can remember a time when a hospital meant a particular facility. You could say, I'm having tests done at the hospital. And everyone knew that you meant this facility downtown. But now, a hospital might have one of multiple facilities. It hasn't been too long ago that all colleges also had only one campus. And if you told someone I'm taking classes at State College, they not only knew the college, but they also knew the town that you were living in, the town you were talking about. But now, that could mean one of many different campuses in many different communities. Now, we can add to this list here churches. No longer does a church have only one branch, one location, or one campus. And what we're beginning to see now is really the beginnings of a multi-site movement. One of the guys that gets around as much as anybody and probably knows about as much about church life in North America as anybody is Bill Easom. And here's what Bill Easom has to say. If you want to do a little more homework on this, his book, Beyond the Box, is outstanding. Warren's book is the best, The Multi-Site Revolution. But in his book, Beyond the Box, he says this: the multi-site movement will explode over the next few decades. And here's why. It's how the church grew in the early centuries. It's how the church has exploded in other parts of the world and cell and house churches. Churches with limited land and a Great Commission mindset will find multi-site the most economic way to be faithful and to grow. Now, as I get a chance to kind of follow what's going on with multi-site churches, oftentimes they kind of all get lumped into one category because maybe a few, but actually there's a variety of different kinds of churches that are now going multi-site. For example, we have brand new churches. Churches that start from day one, and this is something distinctly different, to start from day one saying, our vision is to be a church with multiple locations. And the phrase you almost always hear, the phrase you'll see on everybody's website and on their literature and stuff, is one church with multiple locations. And I guess the first thing, as our personal story, why multi-site church now, it's been a God thing for us. We didn't think of it. I think God intentionally put Nick in my path when I was just a church planner without a single person in our church, going door to door. And I think he brought Bruno to us too, to help us kind of bring that whole vision together. Well, what other things are going on? Well, some other things I was thinking about too, and let me just kind of mull on these a little bit. I think there's some external forces that have happened, we'll say over the last 100 years, that may have contributed to this as well. I talk about external forces outside of the church. When you think about worldview at a philosophical level, throughout the last 100 years, we certainly were moving through the tail end of the age of modernity. And during this time of modernity, okay, and I usually think, just to make sense out of kind of modernity and post-modernity, when I think about modernity, I think about science being king, right? Science is king. When I think about post-modernity, which basically is saying what's after modernity, I think about experience being king. But certainly through the 20th century, we're kind of still in this era of modernity. And it affected everything. Particularly, I'd say it affected business. Things that happen in business. You have the science of modern management, right? And who's the father of modern management? That's right, Peter Drucker. Peter Drucker, who passed away in the last year, prolific Christ follower, prolific writer, but in many ways he was the one who kind of brought that kind of modern thinking to the business world and established best practices and all those kinds of things.